breaking the cycle of youth violence, fighting fires with drones, helping those in a mental health crisis, and much more. We'll take a look at how first responders are keeping us safe on this edition of Connected Colorado. Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shapiro. I'm here at the Denver Fire Training Academy where they do such important work. We're going to learn a lot more about that coming up in just a bit. And as you can tell by the way I'm dressed, I'm going to be doing just a little bit of training too. But first, B Corps, the City and County of Broomfield's co-response team. It's designed to help those in crisis with their mental health needs and reduce police department trips and incarceration.
B Corps stands for Broomfield Co-Responder. A co-responder is essentially a licensed mental health clinician. We are responding in the community with officers. We are providing real-time support for our community members. We're really able to meet people where they are, so we can provide mental health support, resources, really anything that individual is requesting.
The police officers are the experts with law, and we're the experts of mental health and assessing mental health. So for us to be able to come together and collaborate on scene to help the community, it just makes a big difference. And it helps us meet the individual where they're at and get them what they need.
Helping people navigate through these situations where maybe they've been through it before, but maybe this is the worst day of their life and the worst day of their loved ones' lives, and they could really use help with understanding kind of what the process is going to be.
We do not carry a gun. We are not sworn officers. We are simply trained mental health professionals. We're really meeting with them in that moment that they're calling out for support. And then we work with them to find connection. So it may be a couple of follow-up conversations after the call. If it's connecting them to a long-term therapist, we're gonna find all those resources to make sure they get that connection before we close that out. And if it's something that needs to happen more in real time, maybe a walk-in crisis center, we'll make sure that they are able to get there successfully. So we're really the triage that ensures that connection long-term. We're trying to mitigate people falling through the cracks. And I think it breaks down those barriers of historical trauma of wanting to call 911. So now when you call 911, you know if it's a mental health crisis, a mental health professional can accompany those officers. So the officers can handle what they're experts in, and the mental health professionals can handle what they're experts in.
I'm a licensed mental health clinician, so I have my LCSW, and the last 10 years I've been working as a social worker in the field. I've always just enjoyed the crisis work and helping people.
I am a licensed clinical social worker and a licensed addiction counselor. Those are two different licensures that I had to obtain after my master's degree.
There was a gentleman that kept calling 911 over and over again. There was no crime happening, there was no need for law enforcement, but they continued to have to go out over and over again. And he was in crisis related to addiction and related to mental health. But eventually I was able to get in touch with him, just start building rapport with him kind of, and convince him, instead of calling 911, just call B Corps or just text me and we can talk, whatever that looks like. Fast forward a couple weeks, he's texting us saying, I got into a local hospital, they put me through a detox, they got me connected to resources. Thank you for your life-saving work.
I think that everybody struggles with the impact of mental health in some way, whether it's them personally or somebody in their family or a friend. Mental health impacts everyone differently, and so I think having this resource in the community is very important. Being able to go out to meet people where they're at makes a big difference.
There's a couple of ways you can get a hold of the team. One, call into dispatch with whatever's going on, give as much information as possible, and you can actually request B Corps or a co-responder to dispatch. The other way that you could do that, especially if it's just for a follow-up, maybe it's not an imminent crisis, you just want to reach out for support, you can call our general line, and that number is 983-888-6700.
Up next, what does it take to become a first responder? One thing is character. You can tell that by the firefighters here at the Denver Academy and the firefighters in Fort Collins, where they put service over self.
The first responders in Fort Collins and the entire region do an incredible job at what they do because the underlying principle, we all have one thing in common. We really strive for service above self. And we come to work every day with that motto that we want to be out there and provide the highest level of service and take care of our community, and that we're able to provide a best level of service based on the training experience that we have.
That feeling of wanting to help people in a tough time, that's something that you can't train. And with that, there's the heart of service, making sure that we're hiring people and training them. But at the very base level, they want to do this work. They want to show up and help people when they need it. We hire character and we train skill. So we're bringing in the right people who, again, want to serve this community at a high level, not at a very basic level. We have people that want to go above and beyond. All the other things of how we do the job, we can train them.
And one thing all emergency responders have in common, they're problem solvers. Not one person can do everything, and that we all work as a team, that everybody has their specialty and what they're passionate about, and that they share that level of training with everybody, so we are prepared each and every day that we go out the door for when that call comes in.
And the ability to work as part of a team is just so important. And I know in the fire department, EMS, dispatchers, everybody that's working together feels the same way.
And those partnerships are key throughout the entire region, that we're all working together.
What makes Fort Collins such a special community is people don't just point to police or fire and say, go fix this. They say, here's an issue, how can we help? And as a police chief, I have heard that time and time again, where people recognize that the problems we're addressing are difficult. This community comes together, they say, how can we help? What's the part that we play in this?
You know, out of all the calls for service that we have on a daily basis, we act every hour with each other. We are all responding together, no matter what type of call that we're going on.
If we're learning every single day, if we're helping each other get better, if we're listening to our community, man, then that's what makes success so much easier.
We're here with Chief Warren Mitchell at the Denver Fire Training Academy. Thanks for having us out.
We're honored.
This is a really cool place. Talk about some of the things that go on here.
So this is the training center for Denver Fire, and today we're doing incumbent training. So firefighters that have already been hired and on the job, and they're coming out here doing fire ground safety and some extrication training. But this is also the site of our fire academy. So we hire about 100 firefighters a year. They go through a 23-week academy that includes emergency medical services, but also all the things that are fire related: fires, hazardous material, extrication. Even though we're the training academy, we are only a small part of a career firefighter's training. Most of their training occurs at the firehouse while they're still in service, so they're able to respond to emergencies. And then on occasion, they're able to come out here and augment that training at the fire academy. Anytime someone in the city can't figure out who to call, they call the fire department. And so we respond to things like cats in the trees, squirrels trapped in the fireplace, and then also community service. We're involved with the community. We're really honored to have such a special place because the community trusts us so we can have a lot of impact. And then we're very busy. Firefighters are responsible for anywhere from 15 to 20 calls per shift in a 24-hour period. In addition, they're doing training every day. They're maintaining their physical fitness. They're also operating in a family unit, so they're shopping and cooking together, as well as all the administrative support that it takes to go to those emergency calls.
I am sure the squirrel in the fireplace is a big deal, but what we're talking about mostly is really dangerous situations, right? Firefighters get into dangerous situations all the time.
That's correct, and unfortunately there's an inherent danger to being a firefighter, but we prepare them and give them the gear to help mitigate any of those dangers. Today's training is focused on preventing getting themselves in a situation where they might be disoriented or trapped, how to manage that situation from a command level perspective, and how to manage the rescue, and then also how to self-rescue. About 50% of firefighters nationwide who do find themselves in that unfortunate situation self-extricate. Most of us have not been in a lost or trapped situation in a fire, but we have to simulate that through training, so that way something that they might be practicing on here can be second nature, so that when it happens at 2 a.m. in hot, smoky conditions and you can't see, they will have that intuition to fall back on that training and be able to get in a flow mode and regulate their emotions and extricating themselves out of the building.
They literally learn how to save their own lives, right?
This is correct.
And the
yes.
lives of other firefighters too.
Yes.
One of the things we're going to see is learning extrication, like after a car accident. Talk a little bit about that.
So in Denver, every day we have at least one extrication event and one rollover event citywide. So it happens all the time. The difference between 7 minutes and 12 minutes is a 46% survival rate. So these firefighters have to know exactly what they're doing because that is going to be the difference of life and death. So what you're going to see today is what they do, which is really fun when there's no one trapped inside, but really important when someone is.
Right. When somebody wants to be a firefighter and applies to the academy, what do you look for? What makes a good firefighter?
It's such a beautiful career, and there's a lot of people who want this career. One, we need to have somebody with character, someone who's a good team player, can operate under stressful environment with their team, somebody who has compassion. We are a service profession. We are responding to people without homes. We are responding to people with addiction and people in the most profound moments of their life. And we need to make sure that we have somebody who can operate in those conditions and show that care. And then they have to be physically fit. It is important that they're able to carry 120 pounds for an hour up and down stairs to be able to operate. And they don't have to have necessarily all the prerequisites of knowing what it is to be a firefighter. They just have to come to us with that grit, and then we'll train them.
What do you look forward to in the future? There's going to be a lot more changes, I'm guessing.
There is. So it's a mixed blessing that I've had a 30-year career, and I only have 3 years left. But I have 2 children who are Denver firefighters, nice. And what I look forward to is them talking to me about the excitement of their shifts. So I don't know that I'm looking forward to some big change of our job, but I'm looking forward to seeing all the amazing things that my children and the other firefighters that are still working will get to do to serve the community over the next generation.
Chief, thanks so much for having us out and for doing what you guys do out here.
We're so excited to have you. Thank you.
It is a pleasure. And I should mention that I'm getting dressed because I'm going to do a little training. Okay, what do we got? Let's see how this goes. This is harder than it looks.
Oh yeah.
Pretty regular, right? Just like a suit coat.
There we go.
Huh? How's that look?
Yeah. What you can tell in the ambient noise here is this is what a firefighting scene sounds like. You'll have different noises. All right, your turn. We'll give him the cutters.
This weighs a little bit.
I'm gonna have him come over here and we're gonna have him cut some hinges.
Right there?
Get your hand caught. Open it up all the way and get around the hinge. Yep. Keep going. There you go. That's good. All right.
Open it up.
Open it back up. Okay. Okay, one more bite on it and you'll go right through it. There you go. Hey, all right.
All right.
He's got it. All right.
Thank you.
Wow. As you can see, they're not exactly light, even
Right.
the newest generation of tools, but they certainly get
That's
the job
pretty cool,
each and
though.
every time.
Wow.
Amazing, isn't it?
What do we got going here?
So this station here is for disentanglement and reduced profile. So unfortunately, firefighters lose their lives at about a rate of 100 a year. About 6% of those happen inside because of being lost or disoriented. So we want to be able to train the firefighters and give them some confidence that they can get themselves out of the situations. The idea is that training gives you the recognition-based experience to be able to fall back on. Helps them know what to do, but also helps them regulate their emotions so they can think more clearly under emergency conditions.
Nice job. Dang. This is a building at the fire academy they call Ricky's Rib Shack. They used to light it on fire and trainees would go in, save people, and of course put the fire out. We'll take a break and be right back.
A lot of my friends told me that I wasn't going to be able to do it. You don't need to start out with a teenager because they've had all these things that they've gone through.
Could we give him the things he needed to be a successful adult?
What parent isn't worried about, what am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough?
That's my son.
My dad showcased a sense of love that I never had before.
I had a rough time, but I saw that even though the way I was acting, they didn't push me away.
She says that we're her heroes, but she's also mine.
I've had 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
How you guys raised me is absolutely amazing. And I really appreciate that.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
Having to do a death notification of a juvenile is something the city of Aurora says happens way too much. In 2021, Aurora was chosen for a public safety partnership, and that critical work continues today.
Since 2023, the city of Aurora has received federal funding to tackle youth gang violence.
You only lead two places. You're going to pass away or you're going to be in prison.
You know, we have had our own tragedies in this community where we have lost some young men and women. We're looking for an answer. How do we stop, intervene, prevent the gun violence?
I was shocked.
Eric Musselman says today's youth violence takes him back to when he was a teenager.
I was age of 16, running around carrying guns, wearing a bulletproof vest. What 6-year-old kid should be doing that? Wearing a bulletproof vest, carrying a 9mm.
In 1993, media outlets would refer to the Denver Metro gang activity as the Summer of Violence.
There was a lot of gang activities, like daily drive-bys, kind of like how it is now.
No mother, no sibling, no friend, no neighbor should ever have to experience the pain of going to a hospital and identifying your child.
You hear the sirens every night. You hear the gunshots. But sometimes you hear the gunshots and not hear no sirens.
A sound Musselman is all too familiar with.
I came from a house with a lot of violence. So as I grew up into my teens, that's all I've known is be violent, be around drugs. I went to prison at the age of 17 for 4.5 years and 1 day because I shot a guy. And that's a terrible thing for me to live with. I almost took a guy's life.
Musselman would later find himself in and out of jail 2 more times.
This last time I was in prison was for drugs and guns, and I'd been fed up with the past life I lived.
That led him to get help here at Hazelbrook Sober Living after he was released last year.
This is the longest I've been sober for 25 years. Yeah. And I only have you guys to thank for that. You guys are the backbone right now.
Hazelbrook is a full-on recovery community. We provide everything from housing to peer support, clinical services.
Write a list of what helps you cope. Call a loved one. Praying.
We work with a lot of people that struggle with addiction and are in recovery, or people that are coming out of incarceration.
I have a purpose in this life because of Hazelbrook. That's what it comes down to. I did the program, I did all my groups, my classes. It wore off on me where I told myself, I want to do this too. I want to help people.
And thanks to funding from the City of Aurora's SAVE program, Standing Against Violence Every Day, he could.
Aurora SAVE was very fortunate in that we were awarded close to $2 million over the course of 3 years. One of our named community-based organization partners in that is Hazelbrook. It's a group violence intervention strategy to reduce gun violence and or group violence in the community.
Part of the funds are helping folks like Eric get his coaching degree so he can share his own experience with others.
He successfully completed the program and became a leader in the program. He has experience and passion for helping youth, so we have a program where we work with youth that are troubled, and he's somebody that goes and directly connects with them. He works with the city.
Offering up Hazelbrook's services, which also include a sober dojo called Paradigm Shift in Aurora. The goal? To help build a better sense of discipline in a controlled environment.
And now I get to work with juveniles and show them, if I had that opportunity when I was younger, so if I had like a father figure, I can say, or even a big brother figure, to show me the positive stuff out there in life, instead of running and gunning, I would have probably took a different path.
I think people with lived experience are such an important part of this work that we're doing. It's just a critical piece of it.
I'm thankful I became the man I am now instead of way later. So I have an opportunity to help people and give my past experience and hopefully teach some other youngster, hey, there's different ways than to be out in these streets.
Hazelbrook is just one of 3 programs selected to take part in this year's SAVE program. They all offer services to help at-risk youth. This is called the Wormhole. Fire trainees here at the Academy have to crawl through it, and it gets narrower and narrower as it gets toward the end. I'm not even going to give it a try. Meanwhile, Brighton Fire Rescue and 7 other departments did confined space training something like this at the construction site of the new water treatment plant.
Let's get started without Westy. We'll call it more real life.
Today we've got 8 departments with us, all part of the North Area Technical Rescue Team.
We haven't heard from them. Since when?
Water treatment plant today, we are doing a live scenario with an injured worker who has fallen into a approximately 12-foot vault.
It's open right now. We're using this line.
As the water flows through, it gets about 30 feet deep down into the ground in some hard to access areas. So it does provide that unique experience for the fire department to get down into those tight areas and to train on a rescue.
Level of LEL, or lower explosive limit, that requires us to go in on air. So we're lowering rescuers down to make contact, assess the situation, determine what system needs to get built to safely package this person, and then bring them back up to grade for medical attention.
If something happened at the construction site, the entirety of the site would stop. The contractors that are on site would reach out to our partners at the fire district. They would respond, and they would work cooperatively together to make a rescue.
Real life sites are invaluable, and it's a great opportunity. Thank you for the weather to cooperate. Tuesday was a little bit cold. I think we were out here and it was 7 degrees, but that's real life. So we'll be here whether it's 7 or we'll be here whether it's 107.
Down to you!
Using drones provides a critical vantage point for the Denver Fire Department and is part of the future of firefighting.
We're going into the nasties of the nasties. We're going to things that people are running out of. My firefighters are going in.
When we first get there, we want to get a bird's eye view of the entire scene. Depending on what it is, it could be a swift water rescue. We might be looking for somebody in the lake or a river, or if it's a structure fire, we're going to get above the structure fire, and we're going to probably turn our cameras to infrared.
We send anywhere from 6 to 10 fire trucks on every fire in the city. Engines, the ones that carry the water and the hose, they're going to go in and actually put the fire out. Our truck companies, the one that have the ladders, they're going to go and do search and rescue. And then my job as the incident commander is to put all that chaos and bring order to it.
The incident commander, for the most part, he's either going to be in his vehicle or he'll be on the street somewhere, but he can't see half of what we're seeing from the air.
Drone is just another set of eyes, is the best way to say it with our drone program. And we really started seeing this, like we can use this on almost every incident. So like on fires, it's really important because we get that eye in the sky view. If I'm dealing with a building that's 3-4 stories tall or even a high rise, I'm limited of what my vision is. Being able to put up another piece that gives me a really big overall view is a huge piece of the drone program, and that's how we use it.
That's been about 3 years. Start of the program, we ended up getting our first drone. We bought our vehicle and we started responding to a few incidents. Found out pretty quickly that it was going to be a very useful tool in our arsenal for firefighting and search and rescue. We only had about 3 pilots to start that went out and got their Part 107 FAA pilot's license. And since then we've added another 7 pilots to our staff, and now we're able to operate pretty much 24/7 with the program. The biggest part of it is safety, keeping our firefighters safe. If there's anything that could be a hazard to a firefighter, we're going to see it, and our incident commander is going to see it as well.
So my job, the most important thing is I put 40 people typically at every fire in harm's way. So the men and women of the Denver Fire Department, they're running in as people are running out. And that's the most important piece of the incident commander, is to make sure that we're looking at this big picture view and that we're pulling our people out when it's appropriate, or not putting them in harm's way when it's overly dangerous or more dangerous than what we want them to be in.
When we're dispatched to a scene, we set up as close to the incident commander as we can, and we get our drones in the air as quickly as we can. Basically, park the drone over the incident. From that point, we're just going to be directed by our incident commander. He'll tell us where he wants to have the drone and what he would like to see, whether it's going to be just a regular 4K video that we can display or infrared video.
One of the best pieces of drones, we get really good video. Obviously it's 4K, it's the almost high definition you can get. The drones, we can put them up in high winds, and it's amazing. The technology keeps that picture nice and still. But what's really amazing is they can flip a switch and they can turn on what we call FLIR, forward-looking infrared technology. So it's taking out, we're looking for heat signatures. So now I can take the building, instead of looking at it like we see it, and now we're looking at it for heat. So I can find out where my hot spots are. I can find out if there's hidden fire in places, or if we're looking for a victim in the water, we can find that difference in body temperature, and we can see things maybe a little further down in the water. And what's really cool about the drone program and the program we use, which is called Tablet Command, in our Chiefs vehicles, we're able to link that. So I don't even have to get out of my vehicle. I can take that mobile. So as our drone team shows up, they've got video cameras, they've got all these things in there, TV screens. We don't have to physically go over there and see those screens. They broadcast it to my iPad, and I literally have it in my hand.
We have a couple different ways of displaying video. We have our video is down to our controller, but we also stream our video to our vehicle on TV in our vehicle. We can also stream our video across the internet to a URL link, and we can give that to anyone who'd like to watch that's authorized to watch. Our command staff, our chief, our PIO officers, that sort of thing. Right now we've got 7 drones and 3 vehicles. We have a primary vehicle that's also a communications vehicle. We have 2 smaller vehicles that are basically our take-home vehicles for 2 of our pilots. We can respond with those vehicles 24/7 from wherever we are. All cities are pretty much getting on board with flying drones these days. We feel that we were pretty much ahead of the game when we started. We had some good people that figured out how to do this. We knew how we needed to operate, so we built this program from the ground up with our own staff.
They're amazing. They're all self-taught. They are all electronic guys, so they all are the guys that like to play with electronics and computers and different things, so it fits into their skill set. They're an amazing group, and these people are not 24-hour employees like we are. They are 5-day-a-week, 10-hour, 8-hour employees, and they are there at the drop of a hat if we need them. If it's the middle of the night, they get in their cars, they respond, and they'll be there.
Thanks again to the Denver Fire Training Academy for having us out. We want you to stay safe, so these guys won't be needed. See you next time on Connected Colorado.